and welcome to the Fantasy News Show from the Bottled Imp. My name is Ken Boyter and this is your weekly fix of fantasy news. On this week's show, Frankenstein wreaks havoc on stage, folklore in 140 characters, and get ready to trade those sheep and upgrade your settlements. But first, Origins have announced that it is hosting a film festival. For those of you that don't know what Origins is, it's a tabletop and board gaming event, and it takes place in Columbus, Ohio in America. And this year it runs between the 15th and the 19th of June. And this time they've added films to the menu. And it's all to do with independent filmmaking. So if you want to showcase your films, they're going to be accepting submissions right now for feature films and short films in the gaming, sci-fi and fantasy genres. And they're also going to have an award ceremony as well, and they're going to be giving an award for the best feature film, the best short film, the best gaming film, the best sci-fi film, and yes, you've guessed it, the best fantasy film. As I say, submissions are open right now. There is a deadline of the 1st of May, so if you have a film that's nearly finished or is finished, then you can check out their website for further details. In fact, actually, for the film, you actually have to go to filmfreeway.com for the film details. And if you're not interested in that, but you are interested in attending on the gaming side of it, then you need to go to their website, which is originsgamefair.com. The Royal Opera House is performing Frankenstein on the 4th to the 27th of May. And it's the world premiere of Liam Scarlett's new full-length version of the ballet. And it's obviously going to be performed on stage at the Royal Opera House in Covent Garden, but it is going to be screened across cinemas in the UK. And I'm not sure if it's just on the 18th of May or if it's from the 18th of May. So it's probably best to check out your local cinemas to see if they are screening it and what times they are screening it to. And you can visit the Royal Opera House website, which is roh.org.uk, to buy tickets for the actual ballet if you want to go to that. Hashtag Folklore Thursday is your chance to read posts all about folklore on Twitter. And it started way back in 2015, and it happens every Thursday, as you probably guessed. And there's 3 sessions, a morning, an afternoon, and an evening session, and it's 3 hours per session, which is pretty much the whole day. But there is going to be a person that posts up there, a host, a moderator, and I'm assuming they're going to be replying as well. And I guess the 3 sessions are because they need a break. It's all in aid to keep alive the traditions of folklore in this country, which I think is a great idea. And it's a way of sharing and passing on these folklores in the traditional manner, because it was word of mouth back then. But obviously the modern age is caught up, so you can do it all in 140 characters. They do have a website as well as their hashtag Folklore Thursday Twitter page, and the website is folklorethursday.com, and they've got lots of different related articles all about folklore, so that looks very, very interesting indeed. There is a new World of Warcraft novel, and it's set for release in paperback on the 12th of April. World of Warcraft Illidan is by William King, and it is a revenge story of Illidan Stormrage, who is free from imprisonment and he wants his revenge. Oh yes. And he sets about gathering an army of horrible orcs and blood elves and twisted demon hunters, and he is preparing for the final confrontation. In fact, I nearly said final countdown there. That would have been interesting. Now, I've not read an actual World of Warcraft novel. Neither have I played the video game. I know, it's huge. I just never seem to find time to get into it. And I'm one of these people that thinks, well, I've only got a limited amount of time to dedicate to getting into a big, epic, sprawling video game. And my heart is reserved for Skyrim and Tamriel Unlimited in that case. But I thought the novel would be a good place to jump into that universe if you've not explored it. So I may well be doing that. Talking of books, Saga of the Forgotten Warrior, Book 1, Son of the Black Sword, is out in hardback, and the author, Larry Correia, I think that's how you pronounce his name, will be at the Forbidden Planet megastore, which is in Shaftesbury Avenue in London on the 9th of April between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. for book signings. The Son of the Black Sword is the first in the saga, and it's all set after a big battle between the gods. Some of the demon gods have been cast out and they've landed on Earth, and obviously they're wreaking havoc. But there's a hero that's sent by the good gods called Ram Rowan. I think that's how you pronounce his name, Ram Rowan, and he's come to try and banish these demons. And it's all about that story. And his previous books include Monster Hunter and Grim Noir Chronicles. And you can check out Forbidden Planet website, which is forbiddenplanet.com. Now, the craze of adult colouring book has come to the magical world of Narnia. Yes, the Chronicles of Narnia have their official colouring book now, and it is beautifully illustrated and designed by Pauline Baynes. And it has all your favourite elements in there, such as the centaurs and the fauns and Aslan and all the characters, because it does draw on all of the 7 books, not just The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is the most famous of the books. And it's good to see that this craze has kind of come into the fantasy world, because I think anything like that that's very popular, I mean, it's sweeping the UK, I'm not sure about other countries, but it's sweeping the UK. And they are colouring books for adults, so they're very intricate, they're very detailed, and obviously fantasy does lend itself to that. And I do already know that there's a Game of Thrones one out there as well, and there's also a Harry Potter one, and I'm tempted to get the Game of Thrones ones. I didn't think I'd be getting into colouring, but you never know. Fantasy Flight have launched, talking of Game of Thrones, their Game of Thrones trivia game. And it covers the first 4 series of the hit HBO series, and there's over 1,200 multiple choice questions, and they're all labelled in series, so that if you don't want any spoilers, then you can just play with the series that you've seen. So obviously if you've not seen series 4 or 3, or one of the people that you're playing with hasn't seen series 4, etc., then you can just play with the ones that you have seen, which I think is quite a clever idea. And it does look like it's more than just answering questions. There's an advanced game within this game. So if you want to just be answering the trivia, you can do. Plus there's a board that you get with it and strategy cards. And it looks like there's some sort of conquest game that goes on as well, which I'm assuming you also tie in with the trivia. So it looks quite intriguing. It's available right now. You can check out their website, which is fantasyflightgames.com, I think. I haven't written it down, but you can search for that, obviously. And Creature Designers, the Frankenstein Complex, is a full-length French documentary that examines the art and skill of creating monsters and creatures for the film industry. Well, obviously for the fantasy and horror film industry. French directors Poncet and Penso look back at the early animators, so obviously animation and little model moving and all of that, right through to the digital age, that we've got now with all the CGI. So that's spanning, about 100 years of cinema. And apparently they claim to be interviewing every, notable makeup artist and everybody that's been involved. So it looks like a big, full in-depth documentary. And it does have interviews with filmmakers, including John Landis, Joe Dante and Guillermo del Toro. So it does look really interesting. Now, I couldn't find too much detail about this. I stumbled across their Facebook page, so I know they've got a Facebook page, and even then there's not that much detail about it. They do have online trailers, and they are French. All the interviews seem to be in English, and I think all of it is in English with French subtitles. It seems to be having a limited cinema release throughout various different countries, and I believe it's the 22nd of April that's going to be the UK one, but I'm not sure how many cinemas are going to be picking this up. I couldn't find any details if it was on DVD, because I would love to see this. I'd love to especially see it on DVD. So if you do know any details yourselves about this, please leave some comments. That would be fantastic. And as I say, you can check out their Facebook page as well. Mayfair Games have announced Catan Con. Yes, if you love the massively popular game Catan, which was previously called the Settlers of Catan, then this is obviously the convention for you. There's loads of competitions and gameplay that's going to be happening. You've got the Catan National Championship event, which I think you have to qualify for. I'm not 100% sure, you'll have to check that out. There's the Settlers of America tournament. There's Citizen Knights tournament. Blast from the Past Catan games. Catan the Big Game. Mammoth Carpet Floor game, as well as giant tabletop games. There's lots going on. Plus, Mayfair will have all their other games available as a library for you to choose to play with. The convention is held in Nashville, Tennessee in America, and that runs from the 22nd to the 24th of April. And you can register interest on the Mayfair website to get your ticket, which is mayfairgames.com. And finally, Kickstarter news. Oak Bones is a short film by filmmaker Lindsay Correia. The film is about a woman who's been carved from wood, and it's meant to be the perfect woman. And she is positioned in this carpenter's workshop, looking out over a window, outside a window, through into a different world. And she magically comes alive, but she's fallen in love with the world outside. Now, I'm really intrigued by that idea. The film does look quite stunning and quite fairy tale and quite magical. It seems to be beautifully lit and to add to that magic. They have got a video on there that explains the origins of the project. It was part of a feature film that had to be cancelled, and so they're taking bits of that feature film to make it into a short film. And it's one of those projects that you can just sense the passion of the director. She seems to be really enthusiastic about this, and there's lots of, so they've filmed some of it already, I believe, so you can see some of the footage on there, and it does look really good. It's a professional crew. They've got lots of people working on this. And yeah, that finishes on the 14th of April, so check that out. Crown of Exile from Avery Games is a deck building card game for 2 to 5 players. Now, whilst the backstory isn't overly original, it's about a king that has died, and shock horror, you have to all clamber to fill his boots and claim the throne. There are a few game mechanics that make this look pretty interesting, such as drafting, and also you have access to all of your cards to choose from, and then I think what you do is you put 4 down to then play from your hand, but you can still select from all of it rather than just taking the top one from your deck and randomly getting it. There are lots of components in this as well as tokens and things like that. There's a base game plus a deluxe edition, which is obviously the vogue now with Kickstarter games. And there are plenty of stretch goals to try and fulfill it as well. It is already funded, which obviously Kickstarter, for those of you who don't know, you can still fund something if it doesn't. If it has funded already, it just means that you definitely know that that project's going to be going ahead. And that one finishes on the 26th of April. The Vampire, the Elf and the Cthulhu is a fantasy horror story creating card game by, get ready for this name, Geostista. Yeah, should I try that again? Geostarter? I don't know what that is. Anyway, it's 2 to 4 players, and they're competing to write a fantasy horror novel. There is a playthrough video on this. It's very professionally done. It explains it very well. The artwork on the cards look brilliant, and I'm a sucker for artwork. There's a good, long written explanation of the mechanics as well, and I think that if you do back a board game, you do need to know how it plays. You do need to know the rules, because obviously there'll be stuff in there that you may or may not like, and that's just knowing the mechanics is a good way to know if you're going to like the game. The company does have a track record for producing games, because they have got over 30 on the market already, their most notable being Race for the Galaxy. That one finishes on the 30th of April. Roger Deering's Dungeon Crusade Book 1, Genesis of Evil, is an open-world dungeon crawl board game that's for solo or co-op playing. It doesn't say how many people can play. I'm sure it's in there somewhere, I couldn't quite find it. And the Roger Deering claims that you can go where you want and do what you want. And he loves both video RPGs and also board game RPGs, and his concept was to take the best of both worlds and put it into a role-playing game that's a board game, a dungeon crawl board game. So basically you've got this huge board that's already out, and therefore you can then just start where you like and go and do what you want to do. There's lots to do. So for example, there's main quests, there's side quests, there's things like mining for resources, there's smashing up crates to see if there's any loot in it, there's lock picking, there's various different people that you can visit that can help you, such as the blacksmith to upgrade your weapons. There's also the alchemist, the bazaar, there's a village, and there's also the House of Chance, where you can play 4 other mini-games within this game to see if you can win money. More likely you're going to lose money, but to see if you can win money. They do have a playthrough video. Stick with it, because the first 4 minutes is a little bit on the sort of, am I going to turn this off? But stick with it. Seriously, it is worth getting to when he actually explains the whole game. And you do get a good feel for the game from that video. That one finishes on the 21st of April. And remember, we do have our own website, which is thebottledimp.com, We've also got a Facebook page, you can check us out there, and obviously Twitter accounts. Remember, please subscribe if you haven't done so to our channel. If you have done so, thank you very much. Your support is much appreciated. And remember, we do have review shows on a Friday, and we do little imp extras here and there when we can. So remember, please share our videos, keep watching. But remember, that's all we have time for, but keep it real. No, keep it unreal. Especially the news.